Coming up on the Relebogile Mabotja podcast, we have Lady Zamar and headlines versus real life, social media versus real life. We cover all of that, but also you get to find out what kind of music is coming her way. Cowboy hats, Afro beats, amapiano, could be anything. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Relebogile Mabotja podcast. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be the first to find out when a new episode has dropped, and comment down below on who you'd like to see me interview and have a chat with on the show. Now today's guest, her vocals have been ringing in our ears. Her songwriting abilities are phenomenal. She is multi-award winning, but also somebody I happen to know as well. And there's something I'm going to tell you a secret about her. Lady Zamar is in the building. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
I am good.
Yeah.
Do you remember me giving you a unicorn teddy?
I do. I still have it. It's white with like I think the horn is
yes,
colorful.
Yes.
Oh, I always wondered where it came from.
It's from there. The unicorn
now.
teddy,
Yeah.
because during lockdown you had
Some
an Instagram
yeah.
show.
That was very embarrassing.
Why?
Like, I don't know what I was trying to do.
But I feel like, weren't all of us going through a period during lockdown where we were all just trying to,
Yeah.
Because for me, it was just an interesting chat. And I feel like we were all just trying to figure stuff
Because
out.
we're not used to being indoors by ourselves. And it's like, I'm used to talking to people, so I really wanted to like talk to people. But I don't want to just say I'm bored, you know? So I'm like, let's just have a chat.
No, but listen, I have to just say, she's saying that was embarrassing. She has a whole team. They booked properly with a proper email in advance. It wasn't her being like, hey, baby. She was like, what's the email? And it was very formal. And I was at a friend's house when we did it. And I remember just before being like, am I supposed to wear makeup? Should I not wear makeup? And then we settled on earrings, a wig, and lipstick. So you don't look like you didn't try.
Yeah.
And then we just had a fun chat.
Yeah.
It almost feels like
nice.
forever ago.
It was forever ago. I mean, how many years? 5 years ago?
5 years ago.
5 years, right?
Yeah. 4 or 5 years ago.
4.5-ish.
What a weird time.
Yeah.
2022, 2021,
Mm.
around there. When you look back at lockdown, do you feel like it gifted you anything?
Yeah, it did. For me, lockdown was the sanctuary I needed, the moment to reflect that I needed, the solitude I sorely, desperately was in need of. Like, my soul had just been drained by so many people. Having so many people in your space and like sharing your time every day.
Yeah.
And I remember like I'd get home and my cheeks are sore from smiling.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but it's a real thing.
Yeah, you just like, oh my God. So during lockdown, I didn't have to smile. I didn't have to talk to anyone. It was nice to get back to things that I love doing and rediscovering yourself, so to speak. Yeah.
I just remembered as you're speaking that at the Summers, the 1 year, I actually presented you one award, which was the Samro highest airplay, like most played song. Yes, and it's so like, is it still mind-blowing to you that of all the songs, like yours had, because they track it, and not only that, it's a song that you wrote.
Yeah, I think it'll always be humbling for me because it wasn't a small margin that I left number 2 at.
Yeah.
It was like, I think a whole 4,000.
Yes.
Or something like that. And it was like, wow, I've never seen such a highly played song ever in all the charts that I'd seen. And it was like shocking that people loved that song that much. And they still do. So it's kind of crazy.
I know how much people love that song because I think I used it in 2 of my shows for contestants. Yes, I must actually find the performances and share them with you where, you know, singers got to find a different interpretation of the song, and just it's so amazing what that song in particular did for you, even prior to the other hits?
Yeah, I mean, I've had big songs, but that's like a monstrosity of a song,
yes.
you know, so it's nice. I am grateful for it. I think every time I perform it, I'm reminded every day just how lucky I am and blessed I am.
Yeah.
That people love my songwriting that much, that they decided to make this one song an anthem, Yeah.
Do you miss the era of when the dance music that you do, the Charlottes and all of, do you miss that era of that being the core music?
I'm not sure. I don't know how I feel about whether I miss it or not. I think it was lovely to be part of that time, but at the same time, I'm so grateful that it's no longer a thing. Because I think being stuck in a genre can become so depressing, especially for an artist. Yeah. So it's nice to know that people are not into it right now, And I know it's going to come back. Music always comes back.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for you, if you're saying being stuck in a genre, I mean, obviously a record label, a management team are going to be like, well, this works, stick to the formula. What were the genres that you wanted to play? Because for me, I was always saying, if I were to say produce a song for you, I would strip all the up-tempo beats away, because I just hear soul. I hear soul, even if it's not love songs, even if it's an anthem to oneself. Like, that's how I've always seen house music, especially for us as South Africans and our love for deep house.
Yeah.
If you take away the beat, man, that stuff is soul.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've always wanted to make country music. I think Beyonce now, having done that, it's so refreshing. But for me as the little girl, that's always like loved, what's her name? Dolly Parton and Shania Twain and all those people. And I'm just like, it's nice, Bob Dylan and them.
Yes.
I love Bob Dylan so much. His songwriting was phenomenal. I know it's probably weird that I like Bob Dylan, but that's music I've always wanted to make. I've always wanted to make gospel music. I just never knew, if I ever could. I know I will one day. So yeah, the genres that I've always wanted to explore have always been there. So it's nice that the music, that fast 125, 124 is done.
You literally, though, could just add, change the lyrics of Collide and have a gospel song of 100%. Exactly. You literally could.
Yeah, you
what
could.
Gospel do you feel like? Is it like a Mary Mary Shackles? Is it like a Israel Houghton?
No, Jonathan McReynolds.
Ooh.
100%, all the way. If I could make, I will, okay, one day. But that type of gospel, and maybe fuse it a little bit with like, I don't know if you know Lawrence Flowers and Intermission. If I could fuse that element. It's almost like Kirk Franklin, but just a more calmer, version of Kirk Franklin's choirs and stuff. So if I could fuse that Jonathan McReynolds sound with that sound with, that guy, it'll be amazing.
So what's stopping you other than paying bills?
No, it's not
and
even
giving the fans what they want.
It's not even a bill thing. I think it's like when I was 5, I wanted to be 10. And when I was 12, I wanted to be 21. It's that. I will get there one day. I don't have to do everything right now. Right now, I've just started exploring Afrobeats, and that's something I'm really excited about. So I'm going to give that a couple of years and then see where it goes from there.
In terms of your songwriting process, how has it changed over the years?
First of all, before I even got into music, my songwriting had already morphed when I stepped into studio for the first time. Because I went in there with a writer's mind, right? And because I'm a writer, so I was writing an entire, a whole script for one song. And I was like, just make it simple. That was really hard for me. So I had to break down all of that. And when I started making the music that I made for my first 2 albums, I also had to approach it from a different perspective, because now I need to write about specific types of specific themes, but in a way that everyone in that bracket could understand and relate to, because you kind of have to keep a certain relatability in all your music based on the genre, right? And then now when I've gone into Afrobeats, I've incorporated more writers into my writing process because it is a whole different sound. It is other people's language that you're playing around with. They understand things from a certain perspective, so you need to understand how they see the world. You know, so when it comes to songwriting, it's really about knowing who you're writing for, understanding how they hear it, you know, and then doing your best to communicate the message that you want to communicate in the way that they can receive it. I think a lot of people in general have a disregard for message receiving, and they're so adamant on sending messages, you know. And when you're making music, you are sending a message, but you need to be cognizant of the fact that there's a recipient, and that recipient has to understand you. I think a lot of people just struggle with communication in general.
Have you, you know, especially when you say the message you are sending, through then Afrobeats in this genre, what is the message you want to be communicating with your fans and people that love your music and will start to love your new music?
Okay, the first message is to my fans that
Yes.
I am changing. You know, I am not that person anymore, but I am changing. However, at the same time, I want them to understand that what I'm changing into is something that I want them to understand too. So the way I'm writing the music is in a way where I'm kind of mixing a little bit of the style of writing they're used to and incorporating a different style of writing, right? And now with the people that I'm going to, you know, win over for certain, with them, I want them to understand that I come in peace. You know, I'm not coming to appropriate. I'm coming to celebrate what you guys already do that makes the world dance. You know, we're all into Afrobeats right now to a certain extent. You know, people love Burna, people love Wiz, people love Shali Popi, you know. And it's one of those things like we get to celebrate the African continent as Africans together.
When you say you want your fans and those that will jump on board and love your music to know that you are changing from who you were. Who were you that you are changing from?
These are very deep questions. Jeez. Who am I? Who was I? I think musically, I was exploring at first. I was also trying to figure out who I was, trying to make sense of my world in the music I was making. I was trying to figure out how I feel about stuff, you know. Sometimes the music I would write would be from a perspective of, I'm not even sure how I feel about this, you know. I'm not sure how I should go about this. So there's a lot of uncertainty that I started off with, you know, and I think that is something that connects people as well, because a lot of us are uncertain about a lot of things, you know. And I think when I got into my second project, I was afraid of everything. And I think you can hear it as well. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of pain, you know, in everything that I was writing at the time. Now, the third project that I did that was just also exploratory to a certain extent was me trying to make sense of the world from where I was to where I am right now. And then this particular project is me saying, you know what, I've discovered that I am at peace with who I am as a musician. I don't need anyone else to validate me as a musician. I don't need to figure out what I like anymore. I'm gonna figure out at a normal pace now, like the rest of the world.
Yeah.
With everything that's thrown at me in every season, I will be figuring it out. Yeah.
When you took a hiatus from music, was it an intentional break, or was it things that happened that ended up becoming a break? And what did you come out of that with? Because whenever I speak to people about them taking a hiatus or whatever it is, I think the last person that we spoke to about hiatus, I think, was Msaki. And there's something I so envy about the taking time off. And I always wonder, how was a person even able to take a hiatus? So yeah, like what was happening for you that happened?
I think what people don't know is that I intended to take a break at first, right? So I had discovered around the August of 2019 that my vocal cords were basically shot. I think it was like from the 2018 December where I noticed that I was constantly tired after performances and I was not able to deliver at the level that I needed to deliver. And so when I found that out, it was really tough for me. And obviously a lot of things happened, but the December of 2019, I actually sat in a hotel room with my team and I said to them, listen guys, next year I'm taking a break from music. I'm going to let all of you guys go, my whole band, my dancers. I think the only people that were not leaving was my management team, you know. But everyone else, I'd said to them, I need you guys to find other things to do because I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. I need to take some time out for myself. I'm not coping. I'm not handling things well. You know, there were a lot of instances on the road in 2019 where I'd basically kind of lose it, you know. And it was just so frustrating. I'd fight with my booking agents all the time. I'd be like, you're booking me too much. I don't have time to do anything. I need some time off. I can't think, you know. It was also a blessing at the same time because being so busy allowed me to not face a lot of things, right? And then when I finally did get a moment to, I had to go for surgery. I think it was like the February of 2020. Right after that, obviously lockdown happens. And then I had to go for another surgery.
And this specifically on your vocal cords, yeah?
Yes, so it was vocal cords. I took up my tonsils. I also had my septum corrected. And then later on another surgery following up the vocal cords. And then I think from there I just started going to like regular therapy. I had always gone to therapy, I think from 2018. But I had started going to psychiatrist because my doctor was like, you're not healing well. And we're not really sure because your body seems fine, but every time we see you, you don't seem okay, you know? So I had to go in for it. I had to start seeing a psychiatrist, and I think that's where things really took a turn for me, where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually really not okay, you know? And it was tough to actually see myself in that light, you know? Because I don't think anyone wants to admit that they're in pain, you know, and they're going through something. So I'm the most stubborn person.
Yeah.
I will never accept defeat. You know, if I'm in pain for something, I will not be on some, oh yeah, I'm going to break down. I'm like a soldier. I'll go on, you know. But going through that, I realized I needed a break from everything. So in 2020, around August there, I was just like, you know what? I think I need to stop. I need to stop trying. I need to stop caring. I need to work on other things. And that's when I started working on writing again. And I was just like, I need to find out what I love again. Because I wasn't sure if I liked being a musician anymore. I felt like the entire space was toxic. I felt like everyone was toxic. I felt like people are not quick to call out things that are bad because of, I don't know, it's that thing of clout, I guess. I don't know. But for me, it was a very shocking time to see. You know, I stopped being friends with a lot of people. I became a loner because I've always been a person that's a people person. And during that 2020 time, I just became a loner and I just kept to my circle and I stopped having people at my house. I used to host parties all the time. I stopped that. I was just like, y'all not safe. None of y'all are safe.
Wait, so if we go back to what you're saying, that you sat with your team and you said, I need a break. Was there no resistance from them in terms of like, because, you know, if you think about it, when you are the business, basically, everybody sort of depends on you. So even you saying to your booking agent, you're booking me too much, because we know December becomes hectic. Now it's like 3 gigs in a night, rushing, changing outfits, totally underslept, physically run down. So
it's crazy.
At some point then you say that, but it's almost like everybody's interests are in what they can get out of this business. What was their response like? Like, did you have people on your team that were like, actually, you know what, if there's a time, this is it. Go and regroup, come back stronger.
No, I did. It was divided. It was like the people that knew me well. Because, you know, you might work with people, but it's really just work sometimes. They don't know anything about you. They don't know your struggle, your pain. They don't know your friends. They don't know your family. They don't know anything about you. So they think they know you because they see you every day, but they don't know you. So those type of people who didn't know me, obviously there was a lot of resistance from them. It didn't seem like it at first. And then there was the other group that was like, you know what, we've actually seen you go through this stuff. We are okay with taking a break. It's going to hurt us financially. And those people stayed with me throughout the years. A lot of them did not, you know, ever really financially benefit from me again, but they stayed by my side. And they've been there in the shadows. They've been there on my birthdays. They're there, you know, festive times. They're there. So those people, I will always have a very, very, very special place for them in my heart. And then there's another group of people, and some of them were people that like were drivers and people that were like band members at the time, where some of them were very upset, you know, and some of them did some very funny things. I got sued by 2 of my band members because they claimed unfair dismissal or something. And at the time I had registered everything at the labor courts. And labor laws and stuff. Yes. Everything was registered under that. Yeah. So when the whole situation with the whole giving people, what is that money that you get when you...
like a severance. What do they call it?
The one you get from the government.
Oh, UIF.
UIF.
Unemployment Fund, yes.
So when the UIF things happened, because I was in a position where I could help, during COVID, I decided to take out a few, I think it was like 2 times or something, I can't remember, maybe twice or thrice, where I applied on their behalf so that they could have some money.
Oh yes, the grants and the COVID grants and all those things, yes.
Yeah, and I, as the employer, you don't get any money. Yes. You only get it for the people. So 2 of them used that as an opportunity to claim that I had dismissed them in the June of 2020 as opposed to the December of 2019. It was wild. It was a wild ride. But at the same time, I understood how people felt. I mean, like you said, being the business, you also can't be naive to the reality that you are a breadwinner for everyone. You know, if you're not working, they're not getting paid, you know? So I had to also kind of just put that away and say, you know what, it's okay. People are desperate and people need money. I just wish they'd talked to me and instead of gone, you know, that route.
In terms of, you know, you spoke about dealing with the surgeries and, you know, the doctors saying there could be more to this. Because I've had that happen to me where doctors are like, listen, you need to actually see someone because whatever's going on here is not physical.
Yes.
There's thing, and I think people struggle to understand how connected our bodies are to what's happening mentally and those things. You said something just now about the fact that you never thought you would be those people, you know, like at a psychiatrist because of all the negative connotations that come with it.
Yeah.
How did you get past feeling like it's a shameful or a failure or a whatever words you would put to it?
I mean, my family, quite a few of them work in the mental space.
Yes.
You know, and they work in the medical fields and stuff. So it wasn't something I was unfamiliar with, you know, and there's no taboo in my family like that. In fact, I've been seeing psychologists for quite some time. You know, I just feel like if you can afford to talk to someone, you know, do it. You know, even if you might not be going through anything deep that you're aware of, usually you find some things are there. But it was a whole different ball game when they said I need to see someone else, a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And I was like,
because that means they're prescribing meds.
And that was crazy for me because I was like, I know all I need is to talk about it, you know? And when I got to see my doctor, she actually said to me, I understand that you've been seeing someone for a long time, but you have got a serious thing that you're dealing with right now. And most people dealing with what you're dealing with right now don't make it out. You know, most of them are in the streets. They've gone mad, some of them. It's hard, you know. And she was like, you need to start taking medication. I was like, oh, I'm a black person. I don't need medication.
Yes.
I need Jesus.
I knew you were going to say, so I was going to say, you don't need pills, you need Jesus. Don't write me a prescription, write me a verse.
And it was so crazy, like that's how I felt. And I remember she prescribed stuff. She diagnosed, which the diagnosis, I was like, no way, I'm not dealing with that. I don't have this, you know? Because I was diagnosed with compound PTSD. Wow. And I'm just like, there's no way, I'm fine. And then she kind of read out some of the symptoms. I'm like, I thought that's just normal stuff that everyone's dealing with. And she's like, no, this is not normal for you to be this way, to be so hypervigilant. My hearing was impeccable. You know, it's a weird side effect of PTSD where you can hear things like from far. It's apparently your brain being so aware of your surroundings that you literally become so attuned to sound because you are afraid all the time, you know? And that's the thing. And I was like, I thought that's just me being a great musician, not being...
But your body's basically in fight or flight.
Yeah, continuous.
Or fawn at any,
Yeah, and then when I took the first pill, because I think there were like a duo of pills dealing with two different things, I took the first pill and I remember sitting in my living room and I couldn't explain it. It was like I could see color. You know, as much as I was aware of color, it was like for the first time in years, I could see color again. You know, and I remember just sitting there in awe of my surroundings. And one of my friends was there and he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh my gosh, do you see that? Like the trees, the leaves. And I was so in awe. And when I went back to the doctor, I told her this and she's like, that's your normal setting. You're supposed to see the world like that. The way you've been seeing the world has been completely out of having trauma, you know, and it's not normal. And we went through a lot, you know, talked about a lot of things until I had to trace back to when was the last time I felt like that? When was the last time I felt normal? And I realized it had been quite some time since I'd felt normal. You know, I think you tell yourself so many stories. You, as a person, you can convince yourself that something is not wrong. That's how powerful our brains are, where you can believe that nothing is wrong. And I was raised to have a smile on my face. I was raised to be polite and to be sociable all the time. So there's a saying that I grew up with where smile and the world smiles with you.
Yep.
Cry and nobody really cares. So why would I want to be in a world where nobody really cares? So I always put on a smile, no matter what was happening. I'd be like, hi, how you doing? You know, I never gave myself an opportunity to just be like, I'm not okay today. Can we just have a moment? Can I just be your friend today? Yeah.
I actually heard somebody speaking online. It just blew my mind that they said, trauma is not the thing that happens to you. It's the story you tell yourself about the thing that happened to you. And it gave me such a different perspective on so many things, because a lot of the time when we're trying to heal ourselves, we focus on the act and not the part that after whatever that thing is, you're like, whether it's I'm not good enough or I deserve this or this is my fault, all of the different things, whether you're a child or an adult, that come out of it. So when now you started to see colors, were you able to change what you were telling yourself about the things you had been through?
It took a while. It took a very long time. You know, if you are constantly telling yourself that this is your fault or you deserve this or you're not good enough, it's very hard for you to kind of reverse that. But I have always been so blessed to have a family that is incredible. I owe my family everything. I owe God everything to give me that family. But because I know not everyone is that fortunate. My family was always there whenever I needed to talk. It was like I'd vent and they were there. My friends, oh my gosh, my friends are amazing human beings, you know. People that no matter how many times I speak about the same things, they listen as though I'm saying it for the very first time, you know, with so much empathy. So I have an amazing group of people in my life. Yeah.
So when you now were starting going through this process, which initially, I'm assuming you told yourself, I'm giving it a year, let me let my vocals heal. And what kept extending it other than the fact that it was lockdown? Because there were artists that were still actively doing home concerts.
Yeah.
What made you keep the hiatus going?
Oh, well, how do I explain this? I just did not feel safe enough to make music. Does that make sense? Like, I didn't feel like I could make music and then, because all I had associated it with up until that point, because everything else had dimmed, right? I'd associated it with a lot of negativity. So it was like, what if I start making music again and then the same thing happens?
Oh, God.
And then something else, you know, happens. What happens then? What am I going to do then? So it was like fear. You know, I was just like, do I not? I also didn't know if I wasn't giving myself permission, because I think to a certain extent, being a public figure, you want the public to give you permission. You know, you want them to say, it's okay for you to do this now. You know, because for some time, especially when you've experienced a sense of self-doubt that is perpetuated by the environment that you are in, you can start to feel like maybe this environment will never be the same again. They will never accept me the same way again, you know. And I think also the place where I was at, where the people that surrounded me in the workspace, I think they also created an environment where they were scared. You know, they always spoke about it. It was like no one moved with purpose. No one moved with a surety. No one backed my talent. They kept on referring back to the circumstances that were surrounding my life at the time. And now it's like, even when I am alone at home and say, okay, I'm going to do this, the next time I go and I present what I want to put out into the world, the doubts are there, constant doubting. It's like, oh, but what if? And it's like, you get so demotivated. You're like, what's the point? You know, what's the point of this if every single thing I try to do, you guys are not the problem? Because as in your support, you're actually becoming the toxic party in this thing. Because I think even in a household, right? The mother, the father, if you're lucky enough to have that, the guardians of the house. If the child is going through something at school, and now the child comes back to the home and says, Mommy, Daddy, whatever, you know, this is what's going on. If the parents don't give you the courage to go back to school, you won't go back to school.
Yes.
You know, so I needed people in the workspace to be the parents, to say, we will bully the people on your behalf. We will, when I say bully, I don't mean negatively, but we will stand up for you. You know, we will have your back in that way. We will not take it lying down. And I think there were some people, but I think the overall conversation was constantly worry. We're worried. What if? You know, maybe. It's like, hype me up. I need this right now.
So if we look at, and I think I understand what you're saying, is that because for us on the outside, we were just seeing the success of the music. So it wouldn't make sense that you wouldn't have a team saying, what's the next thing? Let's move, you're ready.
Yeah.
But now that you explain it that way, the fact that I think it was around that timeline, the conversations were now no longer about your music, and it was about other things that were happening in your life.
And things that had nothing to do with me. It was conversations that were created about me. So nobody was leading the conversation from my side. I'm in a position where I can't speak about anything because I have a vocal issue. The moment I speak, I'll cry, you know, and I can't cry. You know this. You can't cry when you're on vocal rest. You can't cry when your voice is fragile.
Because you damage the muscle. Yeah.
So I can't do that. I can't be the one speaking on my own behalf. Second thing, at that time, I developed this massive social anxiety where I'm just like afraid of things all the time. And I'm just like, scared. Everything I say is coated with fear, right? Now, with all of that happening, I need people that are going to say, hey, you can do this.
Oh, we got you.
We got you, yeah. I don't need people to be like, are you sure you're ready? You're babying me. Are you sure? We're so worried.
Yeah.
It's silly when I think about it now, but yeah.
But it's not silly in the sense that, because I think maybe the part that many people are not aware of is, in as much as you are the business, the people that have your ear have the greatest influence on you. So
100%.
who you choose to be on your team is the most important thing, because it will determine not just the trajectory of your career, but also your life. And I think sometimes, because we've been in the business as long as we have, we can also take for granted who we surround ourselves with, like influencers, so much, because they can either pour doubt, they can pour so many things into you. I mean, I will share about how, before we started rolling, I decided to do my first TikTok dance challenge.
Yeah.
And my team is like, yes, do it now. Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Post it. It's gone to the universe. Now, if my team was like, it would never happen, and I probably then would never have done it ever again. And now, that was not even for my job.
That's just for fun.
It was just for fun.
Yeah.
And what state was I in when you came here?
You were frantic.
I was freaking out about a TikTok dance challenge.
Yeah.
And everybody around me, I even said, what do you think? So I think I'm so understanding what you're saying, and I'm even just thinking for myself about how you touched on family and how you are so fortunate in this industry if you have a family that truly has your back. I mean, we've seen with careers of your Whitney and Mariah how family can destroy you. And girl, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
So if now in that process of, yes, there's a healing that's happening, but there's an anxiety that's increasing while there's other healing that's sort of in progress. When this hiatus continued, like, how were you surviving financially, that it was never like, oh shit, I actually need to go back to work to pay bills? Or were you just had been really good with your finances that you were able to keep being in a space of, I'm going to call it sort of like a safety bubble?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of three things. I'm really good with money. I really am. Like, I know this. I tested it when I was in high school. I'm very good with money. I splurge a lot, but within reason, right? And then the second thing is my family. When I was really like, Mom, I need money. And I was like, how much? And then she obviously, oh my gosh, you need to pay me back and all that. But I got that. And then the label that I was with at the time, the people that were at the label at the time, amazing human beings, so they understood that, at least some of them, they understood the value that I have as an artist. So there were things that were done to make sure that I do not ever find myself in a compromising position. I think it was just like a combination of everything, because also being a musician full time it's a lot of work, but at the same time it's a very rewarding type of work. Financially you can be really good, so it was those three things where I'm just like, oh, very grateful. And overriding all of those, for me, it always goes back to God being the ultimate provider, where you will never really go hungry. You will never find yourself in a situation, I think the only downgrade I had to do in COVID was I had to, my one car, I had to let go of it. But that's it, so I was really blessed in that way.
I'm like, she was doing good, just let go of one car. I mean, but I feel like I'm not surprised at all, especially because, in terms of all the various streams of income that come with being a musician, you can stop performing, and if you're a songwriter, fortunately the royalties can carry you. at what point did you say to yourself, I'm ready to go back? Because now year one goes by, and year two, and I'm assuming at this time you still are kind of online, and people are like,
here and there.
Yeah.
I think when my voice was, when I was comfortable to start recording again, there was actually a weird situation that happened in studio. I was preparing for an album that I won't reveal the name because I was still going to name another album that same name.
Yes.
And there was a very prominent person working with me. And he basically said to me, I don't think you can sing. I think your voice is too high. And I was
in studio?
Yeah, in studio, you know? And someone I really looked up to. I mean, at some point, I think I even had a crush on this guy, you know? And it was like such a kick in the stomach, you know, when he said this. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to prove to you that I can still do this, you know? And I think just leaving that situation, and it's very easy for a woman to get blamed for everything because we are supposed to be humbler than everyone else, you know? So there was that altercation that happened. Still have a lot of respect for him, still have a lot of love for him. But I think that situation kind of kick-started me to say, get up off your bum and actually work harder in vocal training and push past this fear that you have you're going to ruin your voice again. Because I was also very afraid that I was going to ruin my voice again, you know? Takes a lot to damage your voice, but I had done that lot already once, and I was just like, I don't want to do it again. So I just started working harder, you know, and I started trying at least to work with other people. The songs were still mediocre, but, you know.
I love how you're like, the songs were still, what was mediocre?
I wasn't fully there.
Okay.
If you're not fully there as an artist, your songs are always going to show, like, you're going to make whack songs. And I did. I made quite a few whack songs. It's just that my whack, I guess, is not really the whack of the whack, but for me, the standard that I know myself to be, those were terrible songs, you know, but I still did it because I was like, you got to build the confidence to get back out there again. And I'm really sorry for the people that I worked with and featured and didn't work out. I'm so sorry.
Because now the songs are shelved. Shame. And this person was telling everybody that, guys, I have a song coming out with Lady Zamar. They're like, oh my God.
And then also the label at the time, I had 2 whole albums that I created and they didn't really like it. You know, again, fear-driven vibes, you know. And it's like, oh, I gotta keep trying. And then I was very fortunate to meet a gentleman. He works at Open Mic. He actually helped me just kind of reconnect with music with my first comeback album, you could say, Rainbow.
Yes.
So he basically kind of held my hand, got his producers on board, Mega Drums and them, got them on board, and yeah, we did the things with that first album, Rainbow. Yeah, it wasn't the way I wanted it to be, but I'm glad that I put it out there, you know? And I'm so grateful that people actually liked some of the music.
Yes.
And that gave me the confidence I needed to say, yeah, I still got this. I can still do this, yeah.
Do you feel concerned or ever worried or nervous about the fact that, you know, the fear of the success that now you've set a benchmark, the awards show for themselves, the record making shows for itself, that like you now, even when you say I'm my own competition, you set a high bar for yourself as a competition. Do you sometimes feel like you might not be able to live up to what you've set, or you feel like I'm not even in the same place, I'm creating a new bar?
I've always believed, I've never created music from a place of achievement. I don't make it because I feel like, oh, I'm gonna become a star, you know? I feel like the star part is always gonna be in you when you're a person who is destined for certain things, You know, my mom always used to say to me, "I'll listen, you're going to be great. I just don't know what you're going to be great in." You know, so I think people who are great at what they do, they're going to be great regardless of the praise. They might get that praise much, much later in life.
Yes.
They might get it immediately. So I've never really created from that place. So for me, I know for a fact that it was just circumstantial that I wasn't able to keep that trajectory at that time. Coupled with COVID happening, I'm pretty sure a lot of people's trajectory was kind of interrupted during that time, you know? So I'm not worried about beating that. You know, I'm very certain I will, you know, and I'll probably do way more than that, you know? It's just, I needed to have the confidence to do it again. Now I do.
Yes.
I didn't a couple of years back.
How much of what you went through in that period was related to online bullying and all of the things that you experienced from the public? Because on the one hand, you have this flurry of love, and on the other hand, a flurry of not love.
Yeah, not love. I think how much I could say that the first crisis for me was my voice. The second crisis was what I had experienced as an artist. And then there was the betrayal that I felt. I think the online thing just made things worse. Yeah. I think they just, the reality that people have so much to say about someone they don't know, they don't even consume my music like that, that just made things worse. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think if things were okay for me mentally, internally, with my voice as well, it would have really had that much impact. But I think the impact just came from that thing where everyone's in your business. You know, it's one thing when you're struggling by yourself. Let's say, right?
Yes.
It's one thing when you're doing it on your own. It's another thing when everyone in the neighborhood is talking about you, right?
Yes.
Where it becomes like a hard thing. It's like, yo, okay. And then they're coming up with stories. They're like, oh yeah, she sold her dog. Oh yeah, she did this. So that was what it was like. It was like the struggle was already there.
And then when you're walking down the street, like it's just
exactly. So it's like it was just made worse. You know, I think what it was also kind of enlightening for me to watch it happen, because I think I was saddened by the fact that people are so easy to talk about things they don't know anything about. You know, it's crazy how lies spread fast. You know, people say things that are not true and it spreads like wildfire.
Yeah.
So even if you try to correct a narrative like that, it's like, what's the point? They're going to drown you out anyway. So me, I just let things go. I'm like, speak. But you guys can talk, it's fine. You know, I'm not going to try to correct it. I'm just going to live my life and try to get through my things, go to training, go to studio, and eventually we'll put out music when we're ready. And I got ready, right? So I think the online thing was just educational for me. I got to really see that this is not a very kind place. Social media has been weaponized by people. And I think it reflects a lot more into how people are feeling about themselves, in my opinion. Because there's no way I'm sitting here talking about somebody who, when I'm hustling and doing my own things, and when I love myself, you know, when I'm doing my self-care, I don't have time to be on the internet and talk about other people. So it was really interesting to see and watch. And I think my heart goes out to a lot of people who feel like it's okay to bully people online. You know, sometimes we see ourselves as the main primary victims. It's like, oh, people are talking about me, it's so bad. But, you know, when I look at them, I'm like, I feel bad for you. I really do. Because it must be horrible that whatever it is that you're going through makes you feel like you need to be nasty to someone else. And I'm sorry that you're going through whatever it is that we don't know about. You know, and I'm sorry that you feel like the only way to feel better about yourself is to talk bad about me or someone else. It's really sad for me.
I know not too long ago, there was a snippet of you speaking about people making mistakes.
Yeah, it's like last week.
It was it last week? Okay. Because I don't keep up with the times like that. Now, I'm curious as to what the context was, because I know I've seen it. It's happened to me. It's happened to guests on the show where just a clip is shared and then everybody has 10 million opinions without knowing the context. What was the context that you were speaking about people making mistakes? Because on the one side, it was, how dare she say that about herself? On the other side, how dare she say that for other people? And I was like, what is the context though? No one, it didn't seem like there was even agreement as to what you were referencing.
I find it interesting that there has to be an agreement. I mean, it's my opinion.
Yes.
You know, it's my thoughts, but sure. The context was and remains that sometimes a person can hurt you without realizing that they've hurt you.
Yes.
And they will go about life thinking that everything is okay. You will one day come out and say, you hurt me. You might even confront them and say, you hurt me. And they will say, I did not. It's not me. Or they might say they don't remember hurting you. And I was just like, I've given it to just a mistake. People make mistakes all the time. I think for me, what I've been trying to communicate is that I don't hold anything, you know, people have done to me as some kind of, you know, bookkeeper saying, yeah, you did this and this to me. I've gotten way past that. I've got too much going on in my life to be worried about things that happened 5, 6, 7 years ago, you know. If you made a mistake, you made a mistake. I think where I keep saying is the problem is where you try to villainize someone confronting you, and you basically make yourself a victim in something that you definitely did to someone, you know. And a lot of times the people who are the loudest, for me in general, I find them very suspicious. Like, why are you so loud about defending yourself, you know? Why can't you let someone speak about what you've done to them in peace? Why do you need to make them the bad person for speaking about it? Or why do you have to make it seem like they're not telling the truth about something? That's basically it. And I speak of this in the context of everyday life.
Yeah.
I don't just speak about this in the context of me. I know it's easy for people to just say, Uwaga, that has experiences, whatever. But the reality is that I kind of have a long life, 365 days a year. How many years have passed? I've got so many things that happen. You cannot possibly contextualize my entire life
on
by
that one
thing and expect me to just be like, take it lying down. No, that's your narrative about me. That's not my narrative about myself. So for me, it's just, we all know that people make mistakes. You have a friend, you have a family member, you have a husband, a wife, you have a fiance, you have a boyfriend, a girlfriend that has done you wrong, and you've confronted them and they've refused. There are situations where even your own blood, where you say, you hurt me, and they will say, she's the devil, or he's the devil. You know, we've gone through this. It's not isolated to me. Mistakes are something that everybody does. I've made mistakes in my life where I've maybe said the wrong thing to someone, or I have done something to someone, you know. But there's never been a time where I will be in denial about that. I will always own up to it, no matter how hard it is. But I don't like it when people don't own up to stuff. That's it. That's the mistakes I'm talking about.
Okay, and I think what's quite fair about what you said is we have a tendency as human beings, I don't even want to say as South Africans, to hold on to things, forgetting that firstly, life is not social media.
It's really
and you have a life outside of that.
Yeah.
So years can go by and a person will hold on to one thing and make it the narrative of everything.
Yeah.
Of literally everything. And I think many people can name multiple situations where also as South Africans, we like to remind, yeah, okay, but we forget that there is so much happening in the world. Half the time, we think people are worried about us, but they've got their own shit going on.
Exactly.
We think half the time people are worried about your random comments under their posts, but like they have real things. People are grieving, people have lost parents, people have and. So I think I get what you're saying, because I couldn't understand. I'm like, what is the content? Because I don't follow stuff and go into rabbit holes. The rabbit holes I go into is like people talking about how you can make your own vitamins at home and garden at home and random things. But to follow, and I'm thinking, do you feel like you will ever have a time in your life where you will never have to speak to what happened years ago?
I don't speak about it, really. I really don't. I don't even think about it. Like, it's what it is. It's whatever. It's life. It happened. There was a time when I was like in high school, I fell backwards and I've held onto the bench. You know, that sits in my mind more, because I cannot get past the fact that people saw my underwear and I'm hanging on the bench like I'm insane. You know, for me, that's the stuff that I literally think about, the things that I did wrong, things that I, you know, participated in willingly. If people did stuff to me, most of the time I don't remember, so I don't think about it. I really don't. Like, you could have swore at me and I might remember the fact that I was once angry at you, but trust and believe, I don't remember when it happened. I don't remember what you said, you know. I could never spend the little life that I have. We only get one life. I can't spend it holding a grudge against someone. I can't do that. So I don't talk about it. People like to talk about it, I guess, but me personally, I don't. Like, I don't even care about it like that, you know. The people that I have shared it with have been people that I've worked very closely with, family members that I've had an opportunity to talk to. But in general, just thinking about it, when I go to bed at night, I'm thinking about the song that I'm making. I'm thinking about my mom's birthday. I'm thinking about Mother's Day. I'm thinking about my sister who just graduated. I'm thinking about so many other things, you know. And that's because every single time you hold on to something that's negative, all it does is take away from you. You know, you should never be a person who's holding on to what other people have done to you. You should spend your life focusing on how you can become the best human being possible, so that when you leave this world a better place. Not spend this life thinking about, oh, Ubanbani did this. No, that's not for me, you know. So I don't hold it in my heart. And I would like it if people would stop, but I also can't control them, you know. It's your life at the end of the day. You choosing to hold on to things you don't know anything about. It's like me being worried about Lord of the Rings and Frodo, who said something. It's just a show.
You're like, where is that ring? I
Yeah.
can't stop thinking about that ring. Did it melt, or is it at the bottom of the lava?
You have no idea what happened, and you're just wondering, why would I care about that? It's not a real narrative. So it's like me caring about what people say. It's not real narrative. It's imaginations and things that people said. You know, let me just quickly just put this into like marketing terms, right? So a lot of times when it comes to, it's not a term because I'm not a marketeer or anything like that,
Yes.
right? But we all get convinced to buy things without testing because 10 people said it's a good product, forgetting that those 10 people might have been paid to say that product is a good product. Now you go take your money and you buy that product, and then you're shocked and surprised at the results, you know? So I feel like that's what social media is like. 10 people will say this is good, and those 10 people might have been paid to say it's good, and you as a normal person go, if 10 people say, then it must be good. It's the logic of that marketing uses, you know, to say, usually people will go off another person's opinion, you know, and so social media is like that. So to consider it it's a real place because it's got real people, but the things that happen on there are not all the way real.
Okay, and I think you used a perfectly good example. Now, you have come at the perfect time because we do something new on this show.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Oh, wait. As long as it's not something that needs you to jump.
It needs you to jump. No, don't worry. It's not a game. So let me tell you where it comes from.
Okay.
I am very into self-healing journey for myself.
Oh, okay.
So these are not tarot cards.
Thank
they
God.
are like, they've got affirmations and those kinds of things. So the way it works, I'm going to shuffle the cards and you tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was quick. Then you just pick 3, don't look.
Okay.
1, 2.
Let me go this way here.
Very specific. Okay, now you give me the cards.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Sure.
The first affirmation for you.
Okay.
The path to light.
Uh-huh.
I make the conscious choice to move toward the light one step at a time. I transform my weaknesses into strengths by mastering my thoughts. I overcome obstacles with positivity and acceptance. I develop my gifts and extend my light to every being unconditionally.
It's so on brand.
What's the first thing that came to mind when I said that?
Everything that I've been talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like everything is just like condensed into an affirmation.
Isn't it beautiful?
Crazy. Yeah.
Are you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Ooh. Guidance.
Okay.
In times of uncertainty, I ask God to guide me to the light in my being. I am directed to doors that will open inner freedom to me and step forward in trust. I release my fate to God, and my faith is rewarded.
Very powerful. Wow.
What comes to mind?
Just the fact that I've been on this journey with God to guide me, and I'm so grateful that that card says that. It's like confirmation.
Right?
Yeah.
I told you these are not juju cards. Everyone's worried. They're like, what is that? Last one. Goodness. I overcome my imperfections, polish my character, and feed on the positive. Thus, I free myself, allow my goodness to manifest, and become a source of joy. Through gentleness, I offer unconditional support, understanding, and love to myself and others.
Yeah. That's literally how I live my life. Yeah.
So you pulled the cards that are your cards.
Basically. I'm so grateful though. Wow.
For which part?
I think the last one, the fact that I offer myself the grace and offer myself that love that I then give to others. Because I think for me that's the thing. I've become very aware of how I treat myself. And by treating myself a certain way, I treat other people that way as well. You know?
How have you learned to show yourself love? Not like the performative self-care, but like actually nourishing and pouring into yourself.
I think I've learned it by admitting that there are parts of me that I didn't like, you know, and then working on those parts. Hearing other people's thoughts of me and not just hearing them from a place of, oh, I hear what you're saying, but truly understanding where they're coming from, be it negative or positive. Also allowing myself a moment to be like, I used to be a person that rushed through pain. I would not allow myself to feel it, you know? And now I allow myself to feel it. When I feel betrayed, I allow myself to feel it. It's easy to feel joy, but a lot of times when you are rushing through the negative emotions, you're also rushing through the positive ones. So now when something is good, I really relish in that, and I'm like, thank God, you know, thank you so much that it's good. When I meet someone who does something nice for me, I'm like, thank you so much for that. You know, I really like take the time to understand that they made the effort to do that for me. I also don't, because I accept the fact that I'm a positive and a negative, and I'm working every day to take the bad out of myself. When I see the bad in others, even though that's a little harder to do, you know, I try by all means to understand where they're coming from. I try to understand why people do the things that they do, you know. And by feeling what I feel, I'll feel the pain of what they've done, but at the same time, I'll be like, you know what? It's okay. I can let it go. And then when also appreciating the good. Sometimes when we let people go, we tend to focus on the bad things they've done, and we don't acknowledge the fact that there were parts of them that were really good to us, you know? And what I've learned is to acknowledge that part of people as well. To say, that person might have been a bad person, but they helped me through this and this and this. And surprisingly, a lot of the people that have left my life have taught me to truly appreciate human beings and to appreciate who they are and what they represent, and to not take their journeys for granted. Yeah.
Do you want to become a mom one day?
Maybe. I'm not so sure. Yeah, I love my niece though. She's so cute.
I see you wearing a ring on your ring finger. Is that an
vibes?
Cosmetic vibes. Because I was like, I'm not sure if it's an actual ring or it's accessories ring.
It's accessories. There's nothing. No, I'm still, waiting for the right man.
Yes.
To take my hand.
So you would get married?
Yeah, definitely. I've always wanted to get married. I think I've terrorized a lot of guys I've dated because I'm like, better get married. And then, there's certain criteria that I have, and people fall short, and sometimes I've been the one that's fallen short in that regard. So yeah, at the right time.
As we close off, what would you like everybody watching to know?
About life?
Life, anything.
Do I tell the camera or do I tell you?
You can tell me, you can tell the camera. It's up to you.
Okay.
It's our own rules here.
So I want to just tell the camera, right?
Yeah.
You should not be afraid of living life. You only get one. There's going to come a time where you no longer exist in this world. So you should not be afraid to be yourself. And by being yourself, it's embracing every part of you, the good and the bad, and allowing yourself to truly respect who you are, respect who others are, and to live a life where you do not have to be ashamed when you go to bed every single night.
Can I say anything else? There's nothing else I can say. Thank you for coming.
Thank you
for sharing. Thank you for being open to my soul cards, my soul therapy cards and affirmation. The way I love them, and I've been sitting with them for so long, like now I just want to share them with everybody, because the smile I saw in your face, I was like, yes, that's the feeling I get. I want everyone to feel that feeling. And I really wish you all the best just on where your musical journey is going. I hope your voice remains healed.
Yes.
And I hope that your songwriting abilities just remain open and channeled, that when it's time for that country song, girl.
I'll be country.
You'll be country. Ladies and more, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching and being part of the conversation. Comment down below. Maybe she'll answer some of your questions. Let us know who else you'd like to see on the podcast. And don't forget to follow us on the socials at Relebogile Pod. Everywhere you go there, show us some love, follow, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I've given you so much homework, so get to it immediately. I'll see you next time.